Hey guys, sorry I'm just a few minutes late. My camera would not connect to the computer and thus the struggle began, but I finally got it. We are going to be watching, we only watched some of this trial, so we're a little bit behind, but we're going to be watching a guy who is accused of killing his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, and they had a very, very young child together, and she is missing. And so far, she is still missing, and he claims that he doesn't remember, and we're just going to go ahead and watch. He went on the stand yesterday to testify, which is crazy, but he also is back on today. So we're just going to go through these few videos of him testifying and seeing what we think about it all. And this is Jose Morales. Let me move myself to the corner. I think there's 3 different videos to watch it all, 2 from yesterday and 1 from today. And they shouldn't be horribly long, but definitely interested in seeing what he has to say. Not many people take the stand. And if you were with us for Lori's trial today, she's 100% not taking the stand. She left the door open. There was a slight chance, but she is not. So a little disappointing, but it is what it is, I guess, at this point. All right. I got it. And then there's no trials tomorrow because this is Easter weekend. We celebrate, so I'll be on and off of here. Hopefully, whether you celebrate or not, hopefully you find time to rest, relax, have some fun, all the things. All right, let me go ahead and start. Let me know if you need the volume up or down.
To Connecticut Practice Book Section 42-40 and 42-41. The basis for the motion, Your Honor, is the evidence that was submitted by the state at this juncture, and they have rested, does not reasonably permit a finding guilty to the charge of murder or tampering with evidence. So it is the request of the defense that the court grant motions in regard to both those charges. Thank you.
Attorney Stein?
Yes, Your Honor. Again, pursuant to law, the state would oppose the defense's motion for judgment of acquittal, looking at the evidence that's been presented in a light most favorable to the state. I believe that the state has provided a preponderance of evidence together with the reasonable inferences that the trier of fact may draw from that to believe that the defendant is otherwise guilty of murder and tampering with physical evidence.
All right, Attorney Stein. All right, in ruling on a motion for judgment of acquittal, the trial judge must determine whether a rational trier of fact could find the crime proven beyond a reasonable doubt. A determination of whether the evidence could reasonably support a finding of guilty beyond a reasonable doubt does not require a court to ask itself whether it believes that the evidence at trial established guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, the relevant evidence or question is whether after viewing the evidence in a light most favorable to the prosecution, any rational trier of fact could find the essential elements of a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, I did, of course, anticipate the defendant's motion as it is commonly made at the close of the prosecution's case in chief. Wherefore, I did receive and review pattern jury instructions. I took notes during the entirety of the state's case in chief. I did receive and review those notes. Additionally, I took a look at the statutes and reviewed the elements relevant to the 2 crimes charged in this case. and after careful consideration of the evidence presented at trial and the logical inferences that can be drawn from the facts, the court does find that the jury reasonably could conclude that all elements of the crime of each count, that is the crime of murder and the crime of tampering with evidence, could be proved. Therefore, the court's decision is to deny the defendant's motion for judgment of acquittal at this time. So after finding the jury reasonably could conclude that those crimes could be charged, the next step, Attorney Gavin, would be for the defense to decide if it wishes to present a case.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this juncture, I represent to the court that we are presenting evidence. For our agreement yesterday, I have Dr. Frazier here at 11 o'clock, and I would inquire of the court if this would be an appropriate time to canvass my client regarding his election to testify. I don't know if you want to do that now or you want to do it after Dr. Frazier.
Okay, so why don't we do that now? I can talk to the defendant if he is in a position to make that determination. Why don't we do that? And I will revisit it just briefly before the defendant takes the stand, if in fact that is his choice, once I canvass.
I'm going to skip ahead to him taking the stand.
Certainly.
Just get straight to the point. Oh, I'm glad that I did that.
After you were done helping me, what happened next?
Well, I got a text and a call from this guy that wanted a ride.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
This is the full one.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, and state your address for the record, please.
Jose Morales, Morales, Highland Avenue, Cheshire.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. You're all set, Attorney Gavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Morales.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Have you ever testified before?
Never.
Okay. A little nervous?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Mr. Morales, we're going to go nice and slow, okay? And you let me know if you don't understand any of my questions, okay?
Yes.
All right, sir. How old are you?
I'm 48.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay. And just tell us a little bit about your background, sir, where you were raised.
I was born in 1976 in the island of Puerto Rico. It's in the east corner tip of the island. I was there till I was 11 years old. We came into the United States.
There's no question pending.
Yes, it is.
He was talking about where he was born.
I understand, and he's going into a narrative without a question pending.
Okay, all right. Well, it was an open-ended question, but I will go ahead and allow you to continue where you were born. If that's it, in Puerto Rico, you can finish with a
May
follow-up
I also
question.
just inquire, Mr. Morales has got something up there that he's...
Napkins.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yes, I just want to be sure that there wasn't anything that would have been inappropriate.
Attorney Gavin.
Thank you. You were born in Puerto Rico, sir?
Yes,
Okay. Did you come to the United States?
I did.
Okay. When did you come to the United States?
Around 1988, 1989,
And how old were you at that time?
11.
Okay. And, sir, where were you raised? In Connecticut.
Well, we first came into Cheshire, and then from Cheshire we moved into New Haven.
Okay. And when you say we, who are you referring to?
My mom, my two brothers, and my father, but my father ended up going back, so my mother and my two brothers.
Okay.
An older brother and a younger brother.
All right. Sir, how about your educational background? Just tell us in your own words what your educational background is.
When we got here, I went into middle school, 7 and 8 in Fairhaven, then high school, and I got a little bit of college education from Gateway Community College.
At New Haven Community College?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I want to get this out of the way. Do you have a felony conviction from 2012 and a misdemeanor conviction from 2006?
I do.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right, now, I want to talk about your relationship with Christine Holloway, okay?
All right.
I want you to tell us in your own words, when did you meet Christine Holloway?
I met her late fall, early winter 2016.
Okay. And did you enter into a relationship with her?
Well, at first we met through a dating app, and we started communicating. Then we exchanged numbers. We started talking, and eventually things grew, and we got to know each other good, and we started dating.
Okay, all right. So how long have you been dating Christine Holloway from the time that you first met her through December 2019?
Around 3 years.
Okay, all right. Can you tell us your mom's name?
Lydia de Jesus.
All right. And do you have a stepfather?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what's his name?
Marcos Garcias,
Yeah. And where do they reside?
New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. Can you tell us the address?
105 First Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. And sir, back in 2019, did you own an automobile?
I do.
And
I
what
did.
And what kind of automobile was that, sir?
Nissan Sentra,
Okay.
2003,
Okay.
tan color.
Thank you. Sir, I'm going to call your attention to the Thanksgiving weekend of 2019, and we're going to start with Wednesday, which was 11/27, okay?
Okay.
So these questions are all involving Wednesday, 11/27, all right? Sir, were you employed as of Wednesday, 11/27, 2019?
No.
Okay. Where were you residing?
2 places.
Okay.
I was living with my parents in New Haven, and I had an apartment with Christine in Ansonia. So in the weekends, I lived in Ansonia. In the weekdays, I lived in New Haven because I had 2 kids that, in New Haven, I lived with my 2 kids in my parents' house. And then I ended up having a kid with Christine, so we got an apartment, and I was also living there.
Okay. Now, was Christine employed back in November of 2019?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know where she was employed?
She was working at a daycare, Morning Bright Daycare in Bridgeport.
All right, okay, and you were familiar with that place of employment, I take it, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right, okay. Now, this is the day before Thanksgiving. This is Wednesday, so I'm going to call your attention to the afternoon of Wednesday, November 27, 2019. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what happened that day?
Well, Wednesday, I remember that I was in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, we were decorating. I was decorating the outside of the house for Christmas. Well, we consider Thanksgiving the inauguration of Christmas, so to speak, the Christmas season. So right before Thanksgiving, my mom and I, we had a whole bunch of different Christmas stuff, and we started decorating, and it was me and my son that were decorating outside
Okay.
in the afternoon of Wednesday.
All right, let's go into the evening hours. What happened in the evening hours?
Well, Christine and I and my son Isaac and I had stayed in Christine place in Ansonia the weekend prior to that Wednesday. So we had made plans that for the Thanksgiving holiday, Christine she was going to sleep over with us in my parents' house. So she was coming directly. Wednesday, she was working. She was getting out of work around 3:30, but she said she was gonna get out of work a little before that. So around 3, she said she got out of work, and she was heading directly to my parents' house. The day before that, I told her to pack everything.
Mr. Morales,
Yes.
just talk about what happened on the Wednesday. Did Christine show up at your parents' house?
Yes, she did.
Okay, all right, all right. And did she spend the evening there?
She did.
Okay, and can you just tell us who was there? Was your mom and dad there?
Well, my stepfather was there. My mother was there. My son Isaac was there. My daughter Isabella was there. and that was it.
Okay.
And Christine and Vanessa and me.
Great. And that was Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And did she sleep over at the residence at 105 First Avenue that night into Thanksgiving morning?
Yes, she did.
All right. Okay. Now, I'm just going to call your attention. Now we're going to move to the following day, which is Thursday. Okay.
All right.
Thanksgiving Day. Tell the ladies and gentlemen, the jury, in your own words, what happened on Thursday.
All right. So on Thursday, I woke up around. Well, we got up a little bit late because it's a holiday. My mom got up early because she was doing the Christmas cooking. The Thanksgiving cooking. So she got up early for the preparations. Christine and I ended up helping her in the kitchen for a little while. Around noon, we decided to go into Christine's grandmother's house in Bridgeport just to visit with them for a little while. So around 1 o'clock, we left New Haven. Christine, myself, and Vanessa, we left New Haven and went directly into Bridgeport, which is where Christine's grandmother lived at. We ended up getting there around 2 o'clock maybe. We were there for like 2 hours. I remember that her grandmother was there, her mother was there, her sister, her brother. Somebody else was in the house, but he never came out the room. We was there for like 2 hours. We had a Thanksgiving meal together. We played around, everybody enjoyed. We was just in the house hanging out with each other. Everybody was playing with Vanessa. We had a good time. It was a good Thanksgiving day. No problem, no trouble, no nothing. We just enjoying each other.
Did you come a point where you left Bridgeport and returned to New Haven?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury when that was.
After we had the Thanksgiving meal at Grammy House, we say our goodbyes. We got in the car and we just drove directly to New Haven,
Okay.
to my parents' house.
And did you stay in New Haven on Thanksgiving night, which was the 29th? Excuse me, the
Yes.
28th. Sorry about that. On the 28th, Thursday the 28th, did you stay in New Haven that evening?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take you to the following day, okay, which is the Friday, and that would have been the 29th of November. And I want you to tell us in your own words what happened. Let's start with the morning and into the afternoon of Friday, 11/29.
So Friday, I got up early. Well, around 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. Christine, she was sleeping upstairs in my daughter Isabella's room because my mom and my parents are conservative, extremely conservative, and there was gonna be, according to, no fornication in their house. So if I sleep over, if I have Christine sleep over, she's gonna sleep in one room, I'm gonna sleep in a different room because that's the way that my mom allowed it. So she was sleeping in my daughter's room. So I get up around at 8:30, I get ready, I go upstairs, I knocked on the door, I go inside the room, she's in there, she's feeding Vanessa. I play with Vanessa for a little while and we start talking about a noon appointment that we had because when she got to the house on Wednesday, she told me that.
Objection as to what somebody said.
Just tell us what you did.
All right. Well, she was using my car. Kristen been using my car since the fall. Since before summer of 2019, and I was using her car because my car was a little bit better than hers. Her car had no AC. So because her car had no AC, I didn't want her driving around in the summer with Vanessa in a car that has no AC. So she's been using my car, and I was using the Mazda. I didn't have much to drive. She was going
Just
from
hold on a second.
Ansonia.
You just said a Mazda. What kind of car? Whose car was the Mazda?
The Mazda 2002 was Christine's car.
Okay. All right. So now let me take you to the afternoon. I want to ask, did you come a point where you left the house in New Haven, and did you leave with anybody else?
Yes. So around noon, we had an appointment to go and talk to a salesman at Barberino Nissan in Wallingford. The appointment was at 12 o'clock. So a little bit before 12 o'clock, Christine, myself, and Vanessa, we got in the Nissan in my car, and left to Barbarino's, and I made a quick stop, bought a couple of Lucy's cigarettes because I was trying to quit smoking cigarettes. So I wasn't buying a pack of cigarettes, so I bought Lucy's, and we headed to Barbarino's.
Okay, and what was the purpose of you and Christine Holloway going to Barbarino?
Well, we wanted to get a newer car because her car, both of our cars were old. Mine was a 2003, hers was a 2002. But my car was in a little better conditions than hers. So we was going to get her a car first, and then after we'll wait for a little bit longer, and then we was going to get me a car. So we went to Barbarino's to purchase a car for Christine.
Okay, and just tell us, and that was, you had a 12 o'clock appointment. Were you there in the afternoon, which would have been Friday the 29th, sir?
Yes.
And approximately how long were you there?
Well, we got there around 12:15, and we were there till like 5 o'clock.
Okay. Now, were you able, or you or Christine or both of you, were you able to go ahead and select a replacement car?
Objection at this point, Your Honor. He's leading. I've been.
Overruled.
You can.
So, when we got there, we started talking to the salesman. The salesman started doing the credit background and things of that nature. He was approved. So once he was approved, he went and got a vehicle for us to see. Once the vehicle was there, I said, Christine, go take it for a ride. I'm going to stay with Vanessa in here. She took it for a ride. She came back. She loved it. So the decision was made to buy it. The paperwork was being done. Everything was approved. So the salesman asked me, because it was some cash that was going to be given for the vehicle and her Mazda. So her Mazda was going to be a trade-in, part of the down payment for the new car, for the Ford. So the salesman asked me if I can go, if the
Objection to what the
Mazda.
salesman said,
You can't
please, Your
testify.
Honor.
All right.
Mr. Morales, just stay with me for a second.
All right.
Did you leave the dealership and go get Christine's Mazda?
Yes.
And did you return it to
Objection leading, please, Your Honor.
It's just background.
Sustained.
Okay, sir. Did there come a point in the afternoon when you left Barbarino?
Yes.
Why?
So I left to go get Christine Mazda. It was
Okay.
parked in front of my parents' house in New Haven. So I went from Wallingford to New Haven, and I was driving the Mazda. I was driving the Nissan, the one that we took to Wallingford. I drove to my parents' house in New Haven. I parked the Nissan, jumped in the Mazda, and drove right back to Wallingford.
Okay. Your Honor, if we may, I need Exhibit 161.
Sure.
With the assistance of the state, please, which is the cash report. Mr. Morales, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit number 160, which is full exhibit, which is the cell phone tracking device. Do you have a monitor up there you can
Yes.
see? Okay. All right, sir. Sir, the cell phone tracking device indicates on Friday that your cell phone, and I'm going to ask you what it is in 1 second, that your cell phone tracked from the New Haven area up to the Wallingford area. See that?
Yeah, I see it.
Can you just tell, ladies and gentlemen, the jury what your cell phone was back in November 2019?
203-809-2849.
Was that accurate that you left New Haven and you went up to Barbarino?
Yes.
And this analysis is from 10:47 to 11:36. Your Honor, I'm now going to turn the page to page 10. Okay? You see that on the monitor?
Yes.
And that's the time frame from 11:36 a.m. to 2 p.m. And sir, do you see Barbarino Nissan with the icon in the middle of the area?
I do.
Right, that shows that your cell phone was there at Barbarino, correct?
Yes.
No
He's
question
leading you
about
again, Your
that?
Honor, please.
Sustained, just be careful with the leading.
Thank you. I'm gonna now turn the page, Mr. Morales, which is page 11 of the cast report, okay? And from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., do you see that?
I do.
Okay, and do you see the direction to travel?
Yes.
What was the direction to travel?
Back to New Haven.
Okay. And did that happen?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us in your own words, sir. What time did you leave Barbarino and where'd you go?
We left around 5:30, something like that. And we went directly to my parents' house in New Haven. We did a little joyriding to test drive the car a little bit more, but then we went directly to my parents' house.
And just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you recall what type of vehicle was purchased at Barbarino?
Yes, it was a Ford Focus, black Ford Focus.
All right. Now, so you told us you returned back to New Haven, correct?
Yes.
Tell us in your own words what happened next.
So when we got back, the first thing that happened was that my Isaac and Bella, my children, they came outside and started playing with the car, jumping in, looking at it. We went back inside. Wednesday, I started, when I was doing the decoration, I told my mother, I'm going to continue it on Friday after Thanksgiving Day. So as soon as we got back, we continued doing it with the decorations. I went, we ate, then we went in the living room, and we were decorating the Christmas tree.
Okay. What happened next after you decorated the Christmas tree on that Friday?
Well, after a while I was decorating the Christmas tree, somebody started calling me or texting me.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Christine. What did Christine do?
Well, she was helping us.
Okay. Just after you were done helping, what happened next?
Well, I got a text and a call from this guy that wanted a ride to Bridge.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained, I'll strike the portion of the response that says that wanted a ride. That's hearsay.
Okay. Let me focus you here, okay? Because you can't testify what somebody else said or texted you.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just talk about what you observed. Okay. All right. Where, if anywhere, did Christine stay at 105 First Avenue in New Haven?
No.
Okay. Just tell us, where did Christine go?
Okay, I get it. So once we got done with everything, the decoration, and it was time to go, she was gonna go back. So I started getting the phone calls and the text, whatever, from a person, and I helped her. We packed up. I put everything in the car. So I told her, I said, all right, so I'm gonna see you in a little while. I'm gonna go somewhere, and then after I do whatever I gotta do, I'll meet you in Ansonia. She was like, okay.
Objection to what someone else said, please, Your Honor.
Sustained as to what
You can't
Christine
testify
said.
what
I'll
somebody
just
else
strike
said.
that from the record. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Mr. Morales, I want you to stay focused now, okay?
Yes.
All right. Where did Christine go?
She went back
Objection,
to Ansonia.
speculation.
I'll sustain it unless he has personal knowledge.
Do you know where Christine was going to?
Well,
Just,
yes.
sir, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And where was that?
Back
Again,
to the
speculation.
apartment.
I'll allow it.
Back to the apartment in Ansonia.
Okay, that's 6.5 Myrtle Avenue in the
6.5 Myrtle Avenue. Yes.
Okay, so let's go. So she left, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go slow.
Well, I left first, and then she was.
Okay, you left. You tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where did you go?
I went to a guy named Hector's house
Okay, why?
because he wanted a ride.
Objection, Your Honor, as to what he said.
I went
I'm
to.
gonna, hold on a minute. Are you claiming that
Yes, Your Honor.
as?
Yeah.
What's the exception here to say?
It was the effect on the
Okay,
jury.
all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the statement "because he wanted a ride" is not being offered for the truth of the matter as to what Hector said. It's to show the conduct or the effect of those words on Mr. Morales and why he went to Hector's house, okay? Not being offered for the truth of the matter. So I am limiting your consideration to that response solely as it applies to the effect on Jose Morales' conduct upon hearing that. All right, you may continue.
Without telling us what anybody else said,
Okay.
we just want to ask you, what did you do into the evening hours of Friday, the 29th of 2019?
Okay.
Just tell us what you did, sir.
So after leaving my parents' house, I went into Hector's house, picked him up, and drove to Bridgeport
Okay, why'd you drive to Bridgeport?
because he wanted a ride.
Okay, why?
He asked me for a ride.
Objection.
Okay,
Sustained
Yeah.
in terms of what Hector asked for. And again, ladies and gentlemen, the whole he wanted a ride and the reason for going to Bridgeport, I think we understand the connection to show the effect on the listener, which was Jose Morales not being offered for the truth of the matter. You may proceed.
thank you. Did you go to Bridgeport?
Yes.
What did you do in Bridgeport, Connecticut?
When we got to Bridgeport, first, I don't really know my way in Bridgeport, so he was guiding me around. We went to a gas station. He went inside. Then we left the gas station and we went to meet somebody that he wanted to meet.
Okay, all right, and then what happened?
So we met this guy, the guy that he was going to meet. He wanted to buy drugs.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
What
I'll
fact?
just indicate to the jury that they're to strike that portion of the response from Mr. Jose Morales on the stand that said he wanted to buy drugs. You may proceed.
Okay, you can't testify what Hector said or somebody else. Just tell us your own observations. What happened in Bridgeport?
All right. So we met with the person that he asked for the right to meet for.
That's fine. You may continue.
And what happened next? Just tell us in your own words what happened.
All right. So he got whatever he wanted to get, and we drove away from that area.
Okay,
So as we driving away, he's rolling a blunt.
all right,
I'm
just
good.
go slow now for us. What's a blunt?
Oh, a blunt is when you got the a cigar. You take the guts out of a cigar, and you put weed in it, or you put whatever it is that you want to put in it. They roll it up, and you smoke it.
Okay, all right, so thank you. So you were in the vehicle, Mr. Morales, and just tell us in your own words, what happened?
All right, so I'm thinking that he's rolling a blunt. I'm thinking that he's rolling weed, but I'm not sure because I'm driving and he's guiding me around. So he starts smoking. He passed it to me. I start smoking too. So we start smoking together. Next thing you know, I wake up somewhere else in Bridgeport, in the passenger seat of my car, with Hector in the driver's seat. It's a whole bunch of people around the car. He's talking. I don't know any of these people. These are his friends. He's talking to them, and I'm like, what happened? And they start laughing like I passed out. So I said, let's get out of here. Let's go. So he turned the car on, and we just take off.
Okay, now, were you in the passenger seat or the driver's seat at that point?
I was in the passenger seat.
Okay, just 1 second if I may, Your Honor. Sir, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as the cast report on the time frame on Friday evening. Just 1 second, please. Just wanna make sure I have the page. Yeah. Great. And, sir, did you have your cell phone with you
I did.
when you went down to Bridgeport?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Now, you said that you were in the car, you smoked something, and then there came a point that you left Bridgeport. Is that correct?
Yes.
And approximately what time was that?
I'm thinking around 9 o'clock,
All right.
8, 9 o'clock at night.
Okay. Now, you're in Bridgeport, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Now, Mr. Rodriguez is driving and you're in the passenger seat. Is that correct?
Yes.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where'd you go?
Well, as we driving back, I'm still in and out of it because I was high. I got so high that I wasn't really focusing on anything. I couldn't focus on anything.
All right, let me stop you there. When you say you were in and out of it, tell us what that means.
That means I was in and out of consciousness. Like, I was just drifting from consciousness into non-conscious.
Okay. Had you ever been in that state before?
Yes.
Okay. And sir, as you sit here now, do you know what it was that you ingested when you were in Bridgeport?
Yeah, he rolled the bag of dust,
Okay.
blunt, PCP.
All right. So when you say he rolled a bag of dust, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that means.
He in the blunt that he was rolling, he put dust. He rolled the bag of dust.
All right. The jury doesn't know what dust is. Okay. So we have to go slow here. Okay.
All right,
All right.
sorry.
You said that it was PCP. Is that
Yes.
correct? And just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, does PCP also have other street names?
Yes.
Okay,
PCP
and what-
is also known as angel dust.
Is known as angel dust?
Yes.
Okay. So when you had ingested and you had smoked the marijuana blunt, it had PCP in it, correct?
Yes.
And you had
Your Honor, I'm going
ingested.
to object at this point to leading. First of all, there's no evidence before this jury that it is marijuana. His testimony was he thought they were going to purchase marijuana, but now he's testifying that he smoked dust. So there is no evidence at this point of marijuana.
I'll sustain the objection.
And I would ask again that the questions not be leading, please.
So you were in New Haven. You felt the effects of what you smoked, correct?
Yes.
Had you felt like that previously when you had ingested drugs in the past?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what happens when you ingested drugs like that in the past.
Well, I started smoking PCP or angel dust when I was like 16 years old. And I've been smoking it ever since.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point that this is improper. It's propensity evidence, character evidence. What he did at a previous time is not relevant to.
All right, I'll allow the answer if the answer is going to be what, in response to the question which was, how had you felt like that previously when you had ingested drugs in the past? Just how he felt, not a recitation of the history of any drug ingestion.
Yeah.
So partially, I guess, sustained, but I will allow the answer to the actual question that was asked.
Okay, you can answer.
Just how he felt.
How did you feel?
previously.
Was it similar to how you had felt in the past when you had ingested drugs?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a relapse.
All right. Now, I want you to
Your
tell.
Honor, I would move to strike.
Okay,
It was
I'll move-
non-responsive.
I'll strike, it was a relapse, so I'll strike that from evidence as unresponsive. The only answer that you should consider at this point would be the yes. All right, Attorney Gavin, you may
Thank you,
proceed.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. We have to be very careful with our answers, okay? All right,
Yes.
Mr. Morales? But you told us that you had felt like that in the past. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And please tell the ladies and gentlemen, when you were in the car in Bridgeport going back to New Haven, how did you feel?
Well, like I said before, I was in and out of it because I haven't smoked that in so long that
Objection,
Just
Your
how
Honor.
did you feel?
Sustained.
And I would also ask that the defendant move closer to the mic because I can barely hear him.
All
Okay.
right, so
Yeah.
let me deal with one thing at a time. So again, I'll sustain the objection. We're just going to answer the question that's asked, and I will ask you please to just keep your voice up a little bit, Mr. Morales, so everyone can hear you, and just make sure you're keeping up close to the mic. All right, Attorney Gavin.
All right.
Thank you.
So you were describing how you felt in the vehicle. Tell us with specificity, how did you feel in the vehicle?
well, I was high, confused. Everything was blurry. I couldn't really see. I had no focus. everything seemed really dark, and that's how I felt.
That's fine. Where did you go after you left Bridgeport?
Well, we were supposed to go directly to New
Where
Haven.
did you go? Just tell us where you went, not where you were supposed to go.
Well, I remember several stops were made in our way back to New Haven from Bridgeport.
Okay, just tell us where. What do you
Not
recall?
clear. I don't remember. I was in and out of it, but I know that we stopped in a couple of spots.
Oh, okay. So just so the testimony's clear, you recall stopping, but you don't know the location. Is that fair?
Exactly. I wasn't driving, and I wasn't.
The question's been asked, Your Honor.
Has to answer it.
Okay. Where, after you left Bridgeport, you told us the condition that you were in. Did you return anywhere?
We went back to Hector's house
And where was that located?
in East Haven.
In East Haven, Connecticut? Okay. And what time did you get back to Hector's house? Approximately.
10 o'clock, 10:30.
All right. And just tell us in your own words, what did you do next after you returned to East Haven, Connecticut?
So once we got to his house, we parked behind the house. We went inside. Hector started talking to some people. He started making drug transactions.
No, you can't talk about what somebody else said or did. Just tell me, you went back to New Haven to Hector's house, correct?
Yeah, all right. So
Okay,
we went.
how long were you at Hector's house?
We went upstairs. I was there for. Once we got inside his house, there was some other people in there. They were really not that friendly to me. So at the same time, I got a call from Christine. I went outside the house. I talked on the phone for a little while. I said, I'll be there in a few minutes. We just got back. She was waiting for me in Ansonia. It was supposed to take 2 hours top right, and it's already like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, almost 12, midnight, whatever. And I told Hector, all right, I'm leaving. And I can say what he did.
Sure.
So he started like he went in his pocket and he started giving me stuff. And I was like, what's this? And he was like,
Objection as to what he said.
But just be careful not to say what he said. You can talk about his actions, but not what he said.
What did Hector do?
well, he gave me everything that was in my pockets, all my stuff. Somehow he had it. And he gave it to me. He said something. And I took it. But he also gave me 2 bags of dust.
Okay,
and he
let me
said-
just stop you there. Is that the PCP you referred to?
Yes.
Okay. And just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, he gave you 2 bags. Describe it for the jury.
Well, it's 2 like dime bags, little Ziploc bags that you put weed in it or whatever. Two bags of that.
Okay. And then what happened next?
Well, I grabbed everything that he would give because he gave it to me with the other stuff that he was giving it. I grabbed everything and I got out of there because the guys that were in there with him gave me a bad vibe. So
Okay, so let me just stop you, okay? So you left the apartment, is that correct? Okay, and where did you go?
well, I went into my car.
Okay, all right, and you went into the Nissan Sentra, okay?
Yes.
And just
Objection,
tell,
we're leading, Your Honor.
I'll allow that.
Well,
just tell us, where'd you go next?
so I got in my car. I wanted to get out of there. First of all, I didn't want to.
Non-responsive, Your
Sir,
Honor.
where did you go next? You were at Hector's. Where did you go next?
Well, I drove to like downtown New Haven and I parked somewhere.
Okay, how long were you there?
Not sure.
Okay, what happened next that you recall?
Well, I parked because I wanted to get my head straight a little bit because I was still like, I'm lucky I made it to downtown New Haven.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Sir, you got to answer my questions, okay?
Yes.
All right, you said you left Hector's, you went to downtown New Haven, you
Yes.
parked the car. Do you
Yes.
have any recollection how long you were there?
Probably half hour, 40 minutes.
All right, and just tell us what happened next, sir.
Well, Christine called me again. So I turned the car on and I started driving to Ansonia.
Okay, where were you going to?
Ansonia.
Okay, all right. At 6.5 Myrtle Avenue?
Yes,
Okay, and did you arrive there at 6.5 Myrtle?
I did.
Okay, and approximately what time was it?
12:15.
All right, okay. And what did you do when you arrived at 6.5 Myrtle? This is,
So I parked. I got out of the car. I started grabbing the stuff. I went in my pockets looking for the key. I couldn't find the key to my key to the apartment was missing. I couldn't find that, so I called Christine.
okay. And then what did you do? Did you go into the apartment?
Well, once the door was unlocked, I grabbed everything that from the car. I grabbed my laptop, my backpack, the base to the car seat that was still in my car. So I grabbed that and I went inside.
Okay. Into the apartment at 6.5 Myrtle.
Inside the apartment of 6.5
And
Myrtle
Christine
Ave.
Holloway was there, correct?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, we're leading. And also, can we approach a logical breaking point for the afternoon recess at some point, please?
We'll break at 3:30. You may continue.
Thank you.
You went into the apartment.
Yes.
Okay. What did you do next?
Well, the first thing that I did was I put this stuff down. Christine was on the bed. All the lights were off. I walked up to Christine. I gave her a kiss. I started talking to her and I told her about what this dude just did to me.
Okay. Did you stay in the apartment?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now this is now into Saturday morning. Okay.
Yes.
You oriented with me?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
here.
Right. So you had left Bridgeport and New Haven, and you went back. Now it's Saturday morning. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on Saturday, which would have been the 30th, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what did you do on Saturday, November 30th, 2019?
Well, that day we woke up around 8 in the morning, 8:30. I went in the bathroom, did my thing. Christine was taking care of Vanessa. We were just in the house. I didn't do nothing. We didn't go nowhere.
Okay. Just did you leave the apartment on Saturday, November
No,
30th?
I didn't leave the apartment at all on Saturday. We
Did-
were in there.
Did Christine Holloway leave the apartment on Saturday?
No, she didn't.
Okay, you were there the entire day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to take you to the evening, Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start from the midnight time frame, okay? What did you do around midnight on, which would now be Sunday, December 1st, 2019?
So we were watching TV all day, right? So around midnight, I started getting them cravings for dust that I just smoked. And it started running through my mind that I still had 2 other bags, right?
I can't hear him, Your Honor.
You have to
So
speak loud.
it was going through my mind that I still had 2 bags of dust left. So the craving was getting the best of me. So I told Christine I'm about to roll a bag and smoke. She said, okay. whatever.
Objection,
Don't,
Your Honor.
don't say what she said. Just say what you
Move to
did.
strike it, please.
Sustained. Court is going to strike what Christine said, that you're not to consider that as evidence. Thank you.
Please, just tell us what you did, sir.
All right. So after I rolled a bag, I went outside to the front of the apartment to the deck
To
to
the deck.
smoke.
Okay, and what did you do on the front of the deck?
I smoked the bag of dust. I smoked the blunt.
Okay, all right. And how long were you outside?
This was around 1 o'clock. When I went outside to smoke, it was around 1 o'clock in the morning. And probably 10 minutes, I was out there for like 10, 15 minutes smoking. And I smoked the whole blunt.
Okay, and what'd you do next?
Well, I got super high. Obviously, I haven't smoked
Objection,
in a
Your
while.
Honor.
Sustained.
What happened next? What'd you do next?
So I was high. I got sort of what happened Friday. I got disoriented. Everything got blurry. I couldn't see clear. I was stumbling. Sort of like, it's like taking a gallon of vodka and drinking it in one shot. So, anyways, I stumbled my way inside of the apartment. I left the screen door closes itself. I left the door open because the front door I left it ajar, whatever, and I walked right inside into the bathroom.
Okay. What'd you do when you were in the apartment?
I went into the bathroom.
Okay. And what'd you do in the bathroom?
In the bathroom, I sat on the toilet. Not to use the toilet, but just to sit there, because next to the toilet, there's a window. There's a sky window on top of the tub that we leave open. So inside the house, I can only smoke cigarettes, only in the bathroom with the door closed. So I went and sat down on the toilet. I cracked the window, because once I crack that window, I can light a cigarette. And if I light a cigarette with only one window open, the smoke stays inside. But once I open the other window, the smoke goes out of one window faster. So I sat on the toilet and I started smoking a cigarette, and I started looking out the front window. And I was like dozing off and
Your Honor, I'm going to
Hi.
object to the narrative at this point. Just,
All
it's a
right.
running narrative.
Okay, well, we'll stop
Okay.
at that point, and then you can continue.
Thank you. Okay, so at that point, you were in the bathroom, you looked out the window. What did you see and what did you do?
all right. So as I'm sitting there looking out the window, smoking the cigarette, I look, and from across the street, and
I'm attempting to enter two exhibits, which I understand the state has an objection to, and I don't know if you want to do that in front of the jury.
Okay, well, why don't we take a look and see what it is?
Sure.
Thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, they've been pre-marked as Defense Exhibit D as in David and Defense Exhibit U as in under.
Okay,
The two handmade maps by Mr. Morales.
okay, okay. All right, and I'll hear the state's objection to the maps.
Your Honor, these are hand-drawn exhibits by the defendant. I believe that I'm not sure quite frankly what their purpose is. If they're for demonstrative purposes, there is incorrect information on these things. There are hand-drawn arrows. There are directional indications that the state does not agree with the directional indications. It is has self-serving arrows. I'm not quite sure what those are all about, which is again requires beyond the testimony of the defendant at this point.
What is the purpose of the introduction of the diagrams?
Mr. Morales is going to testify in regard to the inside of the apartment, where he was and what he saw and what he observed. And the maps, Your Honor, and don't forget, he's been incarcerated for 5 years. He doesn't have the ability to go ahead and duplicate that the way that the state does, though they've had this for a long period of time. He can testify in regard to the location of the house and the side streets, what he observed. It's important next. And certainly the state can cross-examine him for admissibility purposes. I think they're both admissible. They're demonstrable.
Why don't you just lay the foundation with the witness outside the presence of the jury at this
Thank you.
point in time?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Morales, I have two exhibits. We're going to start with D as in David, Your Honor.
Okay,
Okay. Can you identify this exhibit?
It's very interesting because they stopped and cropped out whatever his initial response was when he was in the bathroom, what he saw. They removed it. I think that's very strange. Let's keep going.
yes, I made it.
Okay. And when did you make that document?
Like a couple of months ago.
Okay. And where did you make that document?
Where?
Yeah. Where were you?
In my cell.
In your cell.
I cannot hear him, Your Honor.
In my cell.
myself.
You, Jose, the fan is really loud,
All right,
so
yeah.
you got to talk like twice as loud as you thought you wanted to.
Okay.
All right, so what does Exhibit D as in David that's in front of you there, what does that depict?
It's the inside of 6.5 Myrtle Ave.
Okay, now you're going to testify in regard to what occurred at 6.5 Myrtle. Would that assist you to go ahead in your testimony to the jury?
Yes,
Is that why you prepared this document?
yes,
So that you could reference it?
yes.
Okay. And now, I'm going to show you what's also been marked as Exhibit U as an under. Okay. Could you take a look at that, sir?
Yes.
What does that depict?
The area around 6.5 Myrtle Ave.
Okay, and that's the streets that surround 6.5 Myrtle,
Yes,
where you've been testifying and you're about to testify. You were on in the morning of December 1st,
yes,
and it shows the side streets, correct?
that's correct.
Objection, Your Honor, he's leading the witness.
It's a proffer.
I understand what it is, but he should still be creating his own foundation.
Attorney Stein. Are you done with the proper?
I would just, all right, Mr. Morales, does the map area that you created, does that show the side streets?
It does.
And would that also help you testify in front of the jury here?
Yes, it will.
Okay. And in regard to the directions north, south, east, and west, where did you get those designations?
From a Connecticut atlas.
From an
Map,
atlas?
yeah.
Okay. And they both would help you testify?
Yes, they will.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Attorney Stein.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so I labeled this part 1. We are going to pause it here. There's just a little bit left of this one, which was yesterday, and then not a super long one for today, but we're going to go ahead and finish this and then watch today's in just a little bit. I've been on lives all day basically, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We will be back for part 2, and I'm going to get that up, and then when I'm done with that, I have a Monica Cementelli video coming up with new things, and I have a Lori Vallow one coming up today as well. So a whole bunch of new things to watch if you don't have time to watch it. Today we have a long weekend, or at least a lot of us have a long weekend, so hopefully you can find time at some point. All right, thank you for watching. I will be back later.